And so even someone who speaks a different dialect of Chinese, like Cantonese is pretty radically different from Mandarin, but they can all understand the same symbols, even though they can't understand each other speaking, but they can write the characters and they both understand them. So it's kind of like sign language. And I just put that up there to say these things that I'm going to show you at first may seem like, oh, what is he talking about? Or it's like learning a whole new language that has a whole new system of writing. It's almost like picture writing, where each constellation can be pronounced many different ways, but it has different characteristics that will be seen to be the same across different cultures. So as we get to winter solstice, this is Sagittarius in the zodiac wheel as I have arranged it here. Winter solstice is in between Sagittarius and Capricorn. So what I believe these star myths are doing with different illustrations is depicting our plunge down into the lower half of the year. This is our plunge down into the physical nature, but we also have a spiritual nature, but we often forget that. So when we're running around acting like Samson is when we're just treating people like they're just physical body, or just thinking of ourselves as if we're physical. But when we start to elevate that and get back in touch with the spiritual realm, that's what we're supposed to be doing. We're supposed to have a turning point where we go, hold on, wait a minute, I'm not just a body, I've got a spiritual nature. And we're supposed to start to elevate that. So Samson kind of shows mostly negative, not wisdom, but there is a turning point for him, but he's a negative character. We'll see Solomon later on depicting wisdom, okay? So all these characters are actually us. We're like Solomon and we're like Samson. We're more like Samson probably most of the time, but sometimes we get in touch with our higher nature, our higher self, and we start to get in touch with that wisdom that's actually accessible to us, this wisdom from the spirit realm or the divine realm or from the realm of the gods. And you'll see that in the myths. So I'm going to actually reverse this image to match it up with the sky. These artists sometimes, what I'm telling you is these artists know this system, or at least this system got passed down to the artist. This is how it lines up with the sky as you see it. Sometimes artists will take artistic license and move things around or reverse them. It doesn't matter. This is constellations in the sky, and it's pointing us to a certain place on the zodiac wheel, and it's really important. This is Samson getting his famous haircut, and it's pointing to specific constellations. Anyone want to guess? But look at Samson's posture, first of all. He's kind of lying down. He's even got a toe hooked over his leg. He's kind of got his knees bent there, and his angle of his body is at a very specific angle. Now I'm going to show you a constellation in the sky. Anyone know who that is? That's the constellation Scorpio. That's Scorpio as envisioned by H.A. Rey. Let me go back to Samson. See the angle of his body? You can even almost see his knees, and he's lying there. So he's lying there in Delilah's lap. You can see he's lying there in Delilah's lap. He's actually in between her two legs, right? See that? Well, I put a red arrow on her foot and her knee there. Yeah. So there's going to be a constellation that's very close that Scorpio could be lying in the lap of, and it's right above Scorpio. And it's that 13th zodiac sign that I was telling you about, Ophiuchus. This constellation is very large in the sky. It's very awesome when you finally can see it. It's not one that many people are familiar with, but once you, and I talk about how to find it in my blog posts. You can search my blogs. You can search them by word. So you can search for like Alvin Boyd Kuhn. You can just use his last name, search for Kuhn. You can search for Ophiuchus and find blog posts where I tell you how to find Ophiuchus. But there, see how Scorpio is kind of between the legs of Ophiuchus, or below? I would argue that that is what is going on in this. And actually, she's got her kind of elbows out on either side, 2 arms. Notice how Ophiuchus means the serpent holder. The serpent holder. See how Ophiuchus looks like he's holding a serpent? He or she. Ophiuchus can be a male figure. Ophiuchus could be a female figure. In this case, I believe that Delilah is indicating, hey, come over here and cut Samson's hair with her 2 arms there. She's also, do you see what physical feature she's standing in, or sitting in front of? There's something right behind her in the architectural. What architecture is behind her? A column or a pillar. You see that? Ophiuchus is right next to the Milky Way. See that Milky Way rising up? It's right here. This is the Milky Way. And in fact, this is the brightest part of the Milky Way, is right between Scorpio and another constellation that we're going to meet in a second. So we have someone else coming into the picture here. This woman here that I've indicated with a yellow arrow, everyone tracking? She's holding some scissors. She's holding them out in a kind of a distinctive way, about mid-level to her body. And the artist has put her hand there with the scissors like that. And he's also put in, what is that right there? Anyone see that? Can you see that in the picture with that 3rd arrow, that 3rd yellow arrow that I just put there? It's a quiver of arrows. That's a quiver of arrows right there. It's next to a jug. So we actually have constellations that have a jug and constellations that use arrows. So Sagittarius means the archer in Latin, where it comes from the word for arrow, archer. So here is Sagittarius. You see the bow and arrow? That's Sagittarius. So I put it in yellow to go along with the yellow arrows. So that figure who's coming in, look at her angle of her body. Look at how she's holding her scissors. And look at Sagittarius. So that bow of Sagittarius, it really does look like a bow, apparently could also be thought of as a pair of shears. Isn't that amazing how it's the same level and everything? And actually next to Sagittarius in the sky is Capricorn and then Aquarius. We'll get into Aquarius later on, but I just wanted to point out that this artist, don't tell me this artist didn't know what was going on, because he's put these arrows, he's put a jug, he's got he's got Samson lying at the same angle as Scorpio. He's even put this little bench right here. You see that little bench? I put it with a purple arrow. See it down here? He's put this bench right here. It's a distinctive kind of shape to that bench. Right in front of Scorpio is another zodiac constellation, pretty faint one. Here's how H.A. Ray outlines it. That's Libra. That's Libra, the balances or the scales. And there it is. And that artist is doing something here. He's telling you, this is the lowest part of the year. This is Samson's downfall. The Bible even says that she shaves off the 7 locks of his head. If you read Judges 16, that's where the Delilah, 7 locks of his hair, the 7 locks of his head. Lots of ancient sun gods have 7 rays of hair of sunshine coming out. This is Helios. Helios is a sun god in ancient Greece. This is an ancient statue. 7 rays. If you go count the Statue of Liberty, she's got 7 rays coming out of her head. Here's Apollo. I've numbered them for you. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. He's got 7 rays coming out of his head. Where does the sun get his rays or his hair shorn off? The lowest part of the year.